Welcome to No Apologies on Beck, where we remain unafraid to speak the truth, and you are right along with us. I'm your host, Rick Becker, co-host Lori Hintz.
How you doing tonight?
I'm energized.
I am too. I'm kind of excited about this show. This is going to be a really, really good show tonight. We have a guest from Fargo who will be zooming in. We've had him before, and he's fantastic. He is the best thing to come out of Fargo.
Since sliced bread.
Sliced bread.
City Commissioner Tony Gehrig is going to be with us shortly.
We like him really well. And also we are going to kick things off tonight with talking a little bit about a town hall that occurred earlier on this week. Now, I did not watch it. You would think that with this big time show that we've got people to do that for us, you know, people who could watch the CNN show.
Yeah.
But I would not make them watch CNN. That'd be mean. So, no, we do not. So I did not see it, but I heard a lot about it afterwards because people are talking about it. Kayleigh McEnany and Joe Concha have been talking about it, and it seems that our new president may not have been completely truthful.
Well, he may not have been truthful. He may have been confused. And with the town hall, it gives us the opportunity to look at what he's talking about and to assess instead of getting everything secondhand or third hand. And the town hall was very interesting. It was held, as you said, with CNN. Anderson Cooper was the interviewer.
Right.
People were in the audience asking questions. And there were some very interesting points. And one of them, and I heard it this morning as I was driving to work, he was talking about China.
Right.
And is it Xi Jinping?
Yeah.
Xi Jinping?
Right.
Whatever.
Right.
X-Man, I'm calling him.
Way to go. Nice job.
So, very interesting. Let's just go ahead and play a clip.
See what you think of this.
You know, Chinese leaders, if you know anything about Chinese history, it has always been the time when China has been victimized by the outer world is when they haven't been unified at home. So the central, to vastly overstated, the central principle of Xi Jinping is that there must be a united, tightly controlled China. And he uses his rationale for the things he does based on that. I point out to him, no American president can be sustained as a president if he doesn't reflect the values of the United States. And so the idea, I'm not going to speak out against what he's doing in Hong Kong, what he's doing with the Uyghurs in western mountains of China, and Taiwan trying to end the one China policy by making it forceful. I said, and by the way, he said he gets it. Culturally, there are different norms at each country, and their leaders are expected to follow.
Cultural norms.
Yeah.
If you know, have you ever heard of the Uyghurs before? I mean,
Well, yeah, they're being killed off. They're in concentration camps.
it is just phenomenal, the atrocities happening to these people and cultural norms. For him to say cultural norms was just astounding to me.
As I said, I was listening on the radio this morning, and I heard that clip play, and I was astounded. That is so telling. It was just kind of like a moment where I was like, did he really just say that?
That's great.
He is aware of genocide. He is aware of human rights violations, extreme human rights violations. He names them.
Right.
And says, well, I'm not going to speak out about them.
Right.
Against them.
What?
How? What morality are you basing your presidency on when you say, yeah, there's these atrocities going on, but I'm not going to speak out against them?
It's just phenomenal. That was a very, very sobering moment for me, too. I just couldn't believe it when I saw it either, too. Just the fact that he called them cultural norms. No. Destroying a whole civilization person by person and killing them, and just terrible. I mean, I don't even want to talk about the atrocities that I've heard about with the Uyghurs, but read on it, and I can't even tell you how astounding it is that he called that cultural norms.
And President Trump, on the other hand, despite the lies that were told about him from the left, was tough with China.
Very tough on China.
Very tough with China. His Secretary of State, Mike Pompeo, specifically called China out for the genocide of the Uyghurs.
Right.
And now...
Right.
He's saying that it's a cultural norm.
And what is the purpose? I mean, are you trying to cozy up to China? Seriously?
And he says there are different norms that each country and their leaders, are expected to follow. So Biden is giving him a pass, saying, you know, we know that you're killing people off. We know, but it's your social norm. It's your norm. You've got a tight one China policy, which what he means is totalitarianism.
Right.
And it's not that he's against totalitarianism, but it's specifically, as he said to President Xi, in America, we couldn't get away with that.
Yeah.
Because we've got different norms. Not that I'm opposed to it.
This is normal for you guys.
I'm not opposed to it.
This is your norm. So it's just shocking. His own Secretary of State calls it genocide. And for him to just simply accept it is just astounding and disgusting, actually.
Yeah. He says no American president can be sustained as a president if he doesn't reflect the value of the United States, saying outright acknowledging that, so he's essentially saying he doesn't have the moral compass.
Right.
It's just he can't do it because America's not going to tolerate it. But the president of China can do it because China will tolerate it. And not that they'll tolerate it, but they don't have a choice.
All right, I am going to tell you a little bit about what they do to the Uyghurs. Systemic rape, torture, forced labor, and forced sterilizations are commonplace for the Uyghur.
Yeah.
It's just, yeah. And it's,
Well, we have satellite photos
Well,
of
yeah,
the
it's-
Uyghurs lined up and hooded on their knees. There is an atrocity going on. Biden says, quote, but it's much more complicated than that. I shouldn't have tried to talk China policy in 10 minutes on television here. Well, number one, there's a little nugget within that nugget, and that is he always goes back to, I shouldn't talk about that here. I shouldn't have said that. I shouldn't have done this. What he's doing is giving pause, trying to retrace because his brain's not working the way it used to.
Right.
And he's retracing and going back.
You'll notice even in that 1 minute clip, he was moving from topic to topic, and it was very, very hard to kind of follow him after a point. But
now, that's the nugget inside the nugget. The bigger nugget is that it's not more complicated than that. What he's realizing probably like, wow, that's not sounding good, so I'm going to give kind of an overarching thing out there. It's more complicated. So you know what? All the stuff that I said that's horrifying you right now, it's not as bad as it sounds because it's more complicated. You don't get it, and I can't explain it in 10 minutes on television.
Exactly.
I can't explain how I'm giving a pass to genocide and human atrocities, and how I specifically just told you, the American people, and the people around the world, including China that's listening, that I'm not going to stand against these atrocities.
I weep for
because
the
it's a
Uyghurs.
cultural norm.
It's unbelievable. I'm so sad. It just makes me so profoundly sad that we went from a Trump who was very much keeping China in exactly the place they should be, which is, at bay, and then this guy is just, he's so weak. It makes it a much more dangerous world. Okay, so another thing that he did in this town hall, too, that you need to know about is, and actually former White House Press Secretary Kayleigh McEnany did a tweet on this, and she tweeted this little clip of Biden from his town hall, and I'll let you see what he says on this one.
And the biggest thing, though, as you remember, when you and I shouldn't say it that way, as you remember, but when you and I talked last, we talked about it's one thing to have the vaccine, which we didn't have when we came into office, but a vaccinator. How do you get the vaccine into someone's arm?
So we had a vaccine. We didn't have a vaccine. We didn't have a vaccine when I came to office, but we needed a vaccinator. I don't even understand what that means because you got a vaccine. In fact, if you look at this still from Joe Concha on Twitter, look at that. That is him actually getting the vaccine.
What?
Here's Biden getting the vaccine he claimed didn't exist before he took office. Pretty easy one to fact check, says Joe Concha from The Hill. And you can see Biden claims during that CNN, the top tweet there says that there was no vaccine when he came into office. First shots were administered mid-December. This isn't a semantic thing or the president misspeaking. This is a straight up lie on a very important point. And I knew, you know what? Trump kind of said that. He's like, I hope he doesn't take credit for it. He's going to take credit for it. And now all of a sudden he's like, no, we didn't even have the vaccines. I'm like,
and again, I'm going to say that you have to listen to this guy.
what did he say?
He says, and the biggest thing, though, as you remember, when you and I, no, I shouldn't say it that way, as you remember, but when you and I last talked, why would he say, no, I shouldn't say it that way? What?
That's weird.
He's mixed up and muddled.
He is,
now,
no question.
the thing is that the media are giving him passes all the time. They're making excuses, and they will continue to make excuses over and over for him, because could it have been a misspeak? Sure. Except it's not. The thing is that Biden is not worried about telling lies. He just doesn't have the mental capacity to keep them in order and keep them straight.
Yep,
There's
that's
just
exactly
no way he can do it.
Nope,
and
that's
so
it.
you will find mainstream media, news reporting, etc., they are going to make excuses for him over and over and over again. There was a quote from one reporter I was hoping to get, but basically, oh yeah, I know it's fun to snip a clip and act outraged on social media. You mean like you've been doing for 4 years?
Like what you've been doing. You've been cutting things, editing things, right? That's so true.
Come on, man.
Come on, man. I love that
All
so
right.
much. All right, when we come back, we're going to have, by Zoom, Tony Gehrig from Fargo Commissioner, when we come back.
Capital City Restaurant Supply is your one-stop shop for quality restaurant products for the large to small kitchens. Commercial-grade restaurant and bar supplies, limb game processing equipment, refrigeration, dinnerware, and smallware. We sell everything including the kitchen sink from trusted manufacturers for the chef and all of us. Open to the public since 1971, we are veteran-owned and North Dakota proud. Let us take care of your restaurant and home kitchen needs today by visiting us at 1414 Interstate Loop in Bismarck or on the web at capitalcityrestaurantsupply.com.
Did you know the Foundation for Rural Service awards scholarships for rural students? The scholarships range from $2,500 to $7,000. Go to www.frs.org for information and applications.
Hi, I'm Dennis Haugen, along with my sons Andy and Mike, and we're showing our support for wind energy in North Dakota.
Wind energy has provided farmers like us with a steady stream of income that's not tied to the weather like crops and cattle are.
Another bonus is that wind farm owners are required to maintain the roads leading up to the turbines. Because of that, oftentimes these roads are the best in the county. Wind energy is good for landowners, it's good for the land, it's good for our economy, and it's good for North Dakota.
There's nothing more important than family. And at Prairie Rose Family Dentists, we get it. That's why we have more locations, more dentists, specialists, extended hours, pediatric clinics, and even emergency appointments, so you can always be seen. Book your appointment today at prairierosedentist.com. Prairie Rose Family Dentists. We are family.
40 years ago, Aero Service Team started with one truck and lots of hard work.
Times may have changed, but the hard work that we put in to get your lives back in order after fire, water, and disaster hasn't.
Over the years, we've seen so many families lose their belongings due to water and fire damage. Restoring homes back to the original state has made every hour of hard work well worth it.
Thank you for trusting our family with yours.
When disaster strikes, you only have to make one call. Aero Service Team does it all.
Pub 21, your one stop for fun, drinks, and food. Our spacious facility provides COVID-safe fun for you and all your friends. With nightly bingo and specials, you can be sure there's something to do for everyone. If you're staying in for the night, we've got you covered just across the way with Pub 21 Liquor. We have a wide variety of options, from wine to whiskey and everything in between. Stop in today at 1014 South 12th Street in Bismarck to see what all the buzz is about. You won't be disappointed.
Welcome back to No Apologies on Beck. We are done with Biden for the moment, and we instead are going to go to a happy place. We're going to talk to City Commissioner from Fargo, Tony Gehrig. Tony, welcome, welcome, welcome.
Thanks for having me back. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm glad you're on time today. Thank you for that. I appreciate it.
Much better.
Are you,
buddy? Busting your balls. All right.
All right, all right.
All right, so there have been some interesting things going on in Fargo over the past few weeks and even the past couple of days. One of the things that I wanted to speak with you about was, you know, you're kind of the Mr. No on subsidies, and there has been some movement in that area. Can you kind of give us an update, give our viewers an update of what's been happening in Fargo and what the concerns are?
Well, Captain No. They called me Dr. No for a long time, and I'm not a doctor. I'm not like you, Rick. So I'm a captain in the Air Force, so I asked him to stop calling me doctor and start calling me
Captain No.
You know what? In 2 or 3 years, I'll get promoted to Major No. So I'll be Major No in a few years here. So
I like that.
Wear it with a badge of honor, hon.
yeah, well, yeah. So we have a lot of incentives that are coming to Fargo. What people don't may not know in the western part of the state is that we had Amazon come to Fargo, and they asked for zero. They're building a $120 million compound. It's gigantic, 40-foot walls. It's on acres of land. It's going to be a boon for the economy here in Fargo. And they asked for zero incentives because they understand the value of growing here in Fargo with 2 interstates, a huge airport. People who want to work, they understand that waiting for this maybe $10 or $15 million incentive isn't worth the growth that they'll experience in those years to wait for that. So that's great. So what we had in the meantime was another company come who wants to build a $60 million storage facility south of Amazon. And they asked for a 5-year, 5 million, 15-year incentive south of the Amazon building. And to my surprise, it was a 5-0 vote to vote against that incentive. So I think people are
wow.
Yeah, especially here in Fargo, we are more than willing to give these away. So I think we're starting to learn our value. People want to say, Tony, you seem angry, you seem mad about all the incentives. Are you ever going to win a battle? This is a huge win for us. We're going to see growth in this part of Fargo, which is an industrial part of Fargo, next to the Amazon plant, without incentives, and it'll be hundreds of millions of dollars in investments that we aren't incentivizing, which should prove our worth. It should prove our ability to grow without these things. And as Rick knows, I have asked every person who has asked for an incentive to come in front of the city of Fargo for the last 6 years, would you grow? Would you do the thing without the incentive? And 99.9% of them have said, yes, we would, and we still grant them. And in this case, they said no. And I was the most shocked person in the room.
Wow. Well, that is a huge victory.
Does that just tell me that they're you're rubbing off on the rest of them and they realize and they're actually understanding? Or are they getting pressure from other people in Fargo now, or what's going on? Do you know?
It's definitely not me. It's people speaking up, and that's what I want your listeners and your watchers to learn is when you start talking to your commissioners and saying, look, this crazy guy makes some sense. Why are we giving away these incentives in downtown Fargo? Why are we giving away in South Fargo? Why are we giving away everywhere? If we incentivize everything, are we incentivizing anything? And the answer is no. So if we incentivize new growth in greenfields, if we incentivize infill, if we do all of these things, are we really saying, what should be built and what shouldn't be built? No, we're not. We're just giving away tax dollars. And that's what I've been trying to fight against. And after we have this discussion, I'll tell you about Kmart in Fargo, who wants a $3 million 15-year incentive, which is completely absurd.
Wow.
15-year Kmart.
Wow.
You mean somebody that's buying Kmart?
Yeah, that's so.
Okay.
You guys don't live here, so of course you don't know. But in the middle of Fargo, it's
on University.
Yeah, it's on University. You're correct. Absolutely.
I remember where it was. I lived there.
Oh, you did. Mm-hmm. You probably buy your shoes there, for first day of school and those type of things. I did too. So it's just south of the interstate. So it's right off interstate. It's on University. There are 30,000 cars a day driving by this location. It's a 12-acre lot in the middle of Fargo that is just prime for development. And we want to give a $3 million 15-year incentive for someone to build apartments there. It's completely unnecessary. It's basically a blank slate to build whatever beautiful thing you want to build there. If you want to build a mixed-use office building, apartments, condos, and they also want to build a grocery store there. Epic Development, no, Epic, it's Enclave Development wants to have the bid on that. Have at it. You'll make a ton of money. You don't need the taxpayers $3 million to do that over 15 years. And as we give these incentives, the taxpayer is the one that loses. If I told you guys that in 15 years, if you give me $3 million, I'll give you $0 for 15 years. And then on year 16, I'll give you 8%. You'd say no. That's a terrible. Rick's a businessman. He knows that's not a good investment. So why should we say the taxpayer should do that while no investor ever would do that, ever?
It's a really, really handy location too. The location is just unbelievable. Like you say, it's right off of the interstate and just south of the interstate and on University Drive. And it's a huge area. You're right. You're exactly right. So
when does that come before the commission?
So we voted to look at it, and it passed to look at it. So now it'll go to our committees. I'm not going to bore you with what committee it goes to, but maybe in a month or two, it'll come back to the commission with an idea of what the exact incentives would be, and how we would administer those. But it will be millions of dollars. It will be, a decade and a half, if not more. And that means that the people of Fargo will lose money. And when I say Fargo, I'm not talking about that little area. When a TIF is built, and Rick, you know this very well because you own that TIF, don't you? So the box around that area, and you benefit from it. Well, the school board, the park board, the county, vector control, the airport, and the city at large doesn't collect a dime out of that benefit for as long as that TIF is in place. So whether it's Bismarck, where that TIF has been in place for 40 or 50 years, in Fargo, it'll be for 15 years. So the park board, school board, and all those other entities will raise their taxes because they have higher enrollment, they have more demand on their infrastructure, and they will not see a benefit for 15 years. And we wonder why our taxes go up. And I encourage people to watch the video where I railed against this on my Facebook page, Tony Gehrig, City Commissioner on Facebook. Go watch the video, and I rail against this. How you wonder why your taxes go up after we give incentives is because of the demand on the infrastructure, and we don't collect taxes for, in some cases, 40 years. And
wow.
I'm 37 years old. So in some cases, these things are lasting longer than I've been alive.
Now, just for clarification, I'm not sure how the TIF works in Fargo, but you had indicated that businesses within a TIF zone benefit. But like I say, in Bismarck at least, I mean, we pay our full taxes.
Yeah.
But a good portion of those taxes go into the special fund.
That's right.
And then the city, the government, determines which new business they want to subsidize, what new thing do they want to do to subsidize. So in a sense, maybe it's indirect benefit to that region or that area of the city, but it's not as though, I just want to be clear, people in TIF don't pay less taxes.
Do I have 30 seconds?
Yeah, sure, go ahead.
I'll try as hard as I can to be quick. Within that box, anything above and beyond what was already there. So let's say that the Kmart building paid $5,000 a year in taxes. I'm throwing out a number that's not what the number is, okay? As they improve it to a $60 million business, every dime of that goes to that TIF to improve that district. And in this case, it would go to remove that building. So what we're doing as the city of Fargo is we're giving them a $3 million loan up front, and they're paying back that loan with the TIF that we gave them over 15 years. So let's say that you have in my house, I have an attached garage right over here. If I want to tell the city of Fargo that I want to build a new garage, city of Fargo would say, Tony, keep paying your taxes the way you always have, no difference. But we're going to build you a new $20,000 garage. That sounds like a pretty good deal to me. Now, I understand that Bismarck and everybody else uses it differently. And Rick, I know that you pay taxes. But that money goes back into that TIF district and not to the greater city, not to the school board, not to the park board, not to anybody else to improve their properties, their streets, their roads, their lights.
I agree completely. I've got a little building downtown. Before I developed it, the property taxes were less than $3,000 a year. Now they're well over $45,000 a year. I pay all of that.
Yes, you do.
I presume that at least $42,000 of what I pay every year, the city is just keeping that in a box somewhere, and they're going to do some special project one day. I don't know.
And we as a commission take your money. We do it whatever the hell we want with it, Rick.
That's right. That's right. Hang with us, Tony. We're going to break here. We're going to be right back for another segment with Tony Gehrig.
Jeez, what a mess. Look at that. There's roof stuff everywhere. It's so embarrassing. Ruins the neighborhood. Come on, humans. Let's get this fixed.
Don't let your roof go to the dogs. Call America's best contractors for your free estimate.
Need a new woof?
After checking with the rest, go with the best. America's Best Contractors. 258-2412. Online at americasbestcontractorsincorporated.com.
Beck Communications is hiring. Beck Communications is seeking qualified candidates for plant technicians in our Wheatland, North Dakota location. Beck Communications is an equal opportunity employer. To view the job details, visit www.beck.coop. To apply, email your cover letter and resume to careers@bechtel.coop. Beck Communications, making connections that matter.
In southwestern and south central North Dakota, on any given day at any given moment, a Dakota Community Bank and Trust customer is logging in or signing on to do their online or mobile banking. We believe that community banking can blend both the past with down-home customer service in-house and the future with modern banking conveniences and technology for our customers anywhere, like here or here, all while honoring our long-standing tradition of community-first oriented banking here at Dakota Community Bank and Trust.
If you're a Beck Fiber customer or the dependent of a Beck Fiber customer, you might qualify for scholarships. Beck awards scholarships to seniors headed to college or to students attending University of Mary. Go to www.beck.coop for eligibility guidelines and applications.
The experienced professionals at Superior Glass provide residential and commercial glass installation and repair services in central and western North Dakota. Superior Glass is your source for stained glass projects, mirrors, windows, touchless, and automated entry solutions. Stop by and see us at 3323 East Broadway in Bismarck or call us at 701-258-5600. Superior Glass, where you get superior service for less. Bye for now.
Did you know the Foundation for Rural Service awards scholarships for rural students? The scholarships range from $2,500 to $7,000. Go to www.frs.org for information and applications.
Welcome back to No Apologies on Beck, your after-hours oasis of sanity. I'm your host, Rick Becker, co-host Lori Hintz. Hello. And the oasis of sanity in Fargo is with us tonight, City Commissioner Tony Gehrig. Let's hear it. All right.
All right.
So we learned about subsidies and why government sucks.
We know that.
Let's talk about another reason government sucks. Something happened more recently in Fargo. Let's hear about it.
So what is specifically you're talking the mask mandate. The mask mandate, right?
Right.
Yes.
So just making sure we're on the same page.
Yes, we are.
So we had a special meeting yesterday. And the meeting was notified late. We had an AG opinion already that said it was legal, but it was right underneath the line of where it should have been. So we had 4 of 5 commissioners show, and they gave a presentation that was definitely prepared before the 23-hour mark to tell why we need the mask mandate to continue. And we can see I'm not going to call it the curve because it's not the curve. The curve is the number of beds available to the number of people who need the beds. That is the curve.
It's the original curve, yep.
There is not 2 curves. There's not 3 curves. There's a curve. There's the curve. That's the only curve. And in Fargo, North Dakota, and in North Dakota at large, that curve is extremely flat at this point. The peak was at January 11th, and it has dived down at an extreme rate. And by the way, South Dakota's rate has plummeted just with us, without mask mandates. So we as a commission, not I myself, were praising the mask mandate and saying that we need to continue the mask mandate because the curve that they're talking about went down. Their curve is the total number of cases, which is not at all the curve. The total number of cases is irrelevant, really, when you talk about the healthcare system and how we manage COVID. So in a 3-to-1 vote, the mandate was continued. At that meeting, I asked why we don't have a mandate for 2 masks. The CDC came out and said that 2 masks is 70% more effective than 1 mask. So if we're talking about science, and if we're saving grandma, and if we're saving lives, and if we're literally going to kill grandma without a mask mandate, then why not 2 masks? Because it's 70% more effective. So if we don't want to kill people, if we literally don't want to kill people, then why not 2 masks? And that most did not get a second and did not pass. The single mask mandate did pass for the next month. March 22nd is when that mandate will come up for re-vote.
Unbelievable.
I saw this story, Tony, and it said on here that you had your meeting and the majority of school teachers are not currently vaccinated while school remains in session. And that was one of the reasons given, one of the rationale provided so that you could get that mask mandate longer, because the majority of school teachers are not currently vaccinated. Now, how does that even relate in any way to the mask mandate?
Well, we're moving the goalpost, right? That was never the curve. Is that a new curve? Maybe that's a curve I'm not aware of. We talk about how Fargo only has a 13% vaccination rate. Well, in January 11th of this year, we had 10,000 folks in North Dakota that had coronavirus, the vast majority of whom healed and came back and didn't die, obviously. So we're not taking into account the people who have recovered and have immunity that way. We only count the people who got vaccinated. I'm wondering why that is. So if we're talking about herd immunity, and that's what we're talking about again, then why not talk about the people who have recovered? So we've had tens of thousands of people in North Dakota get this virus, recover from this virus, and now they have that immunity just the way a vaccine would work. And so we're not counting them, we're only counting the number of vaccines. So the new curve that we have now is the people who have received the vaccination, and the teachers haven't got it. Therefore, we should shut down business. We should have mask mandates, and we should disrupt people's lives. I don't see the science here. Then again, the science says 1 mask is not good enough. 2 masks is good. Let's have 7 masks. Let's just go for it. And if we really want to save grandma, let's just go for it. We're the whole thing. And people see that as sarcastic, and they see that as talking down the situation. But you can't tell me that I'm killing grandma if I'm not for the mask mandate, but you're not going to listen to the CDC when they say that we have 2 masks instead of 1. How am I the bad guy at this point?
I thought it was also really interesting that they touted the same thing about the new strain. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention have identified new highly contagious variants. Did you hear this in your meeting too, of the COVID-19 virus? Two cases of a new variant have been confirmed in North Dakota, not necessarily Fargo, but in North Dakota already. So they're whipping up a little bit of fear again. Just got to keep you on your heels a little bit.
You're 100% correct. The 2 reasons that were given for the mask mandate to continue were, 1, the vaccination rate is only at 12 or 13%, and 2, there's new variants. And Arlette Preston, one of the city commissioners here in Fargo, said, I want a 70% vaccination rate before we lift the mask mandate. I'm telling you right now, 30% of the people in Fargo are not going to get vaccinated. They're just not going to do it.
Yeah.
So if they want 70%, then we'll have a mask mandate forever. The good thing about a mask mandate.
What about the herd immunity? What about all the people who've already had it? Why would they be vaccinated? That makes no sense.
Well, science doesn't matter. It's about virtue signaling as well.
Yeah, oh my God, we should just stop right there.
Right.
That's exactly what it is. That is exactly what. So many of the points you brought up, Lori and I have been talking about on this show. It's astounding to me how you can use logic, not use it, just present logically the facts, present the data, present the science. But the people that screech, it's science, science, don't listen to that. They've got a narrative, and they've got their blindfold or their blinders on, and it's all out. It's that or nothing, and if you disagree, you want grandma to die, science be damned.
And Rick, you know as well as I do, as an elected official, you receive the phone calls and the emails and the hate and discontent of people who are just afraid, and they want government to save you. So when I tell people government can't and won't save you, hell hath no fury. They want us to save them. And I'm telling you right now, we can't. We won't. We're inept. And it's going to come down to, we're all going to get it at some point. we can do the best we can. If you want to wear a mask as an individual, yes. The governor from South Dakota had a speech today where she laid it out perfectly. Wear the mask in the appropriate situations where it matters and where it makes a difference. But I'm not going to mandate it, because mandates don't work. Mandates don't work if people don't wear them properly. Watch the city commission meeting where we talk about masks and we have commissioners touching their faces constantly in order to talk into the microphone, and you want to talk about how it's saving your life. Give me a break. It doesn't take a virologist. It doesn't take an epidemiologist. It doesn't take a doctor to figure out these things aren't working. And it takes personal responsibility. And if you're sick, stay home. And if you feel afraid, stay home. But otherwise, let me live my life. And I'm not going to wear a mask in the city commission meetings. I'm not going to do it.
Yeah.
Good for you. Thank you
Amen,
so
brother.
much.
So
All
happy to
right,
have
well
you on.
done.
You
As
are an
always.
oasis of sanity
He's
right there,
a rock
folks.
star. Thank heavens we got somebody in Fargo like this.
Thanks for being with us, Tony. Hopefully we'll do it again sometime soon.
I'll be on time.
All right, folks. We'll be right back.
Great food.
Howdy folks, it's a Caroline Cafe. I reckon it's time you're due for a hearty meal. So saddle up for the day with one of our Hey Boston breakfast homemade soups. Fill your grill at our salad bar, sink your teeth into our famous Caroline burger and barbecue ribs. Top it off with spur rattling pie with a calm roll that's sure to put a smile on even the toughest outlaws. Shake the dirt off the boots each night and warm up with the gang. Tell them about it, Stacy.
I can't wait to see you at the county line.
Since opening in Hebron in 1940, Dakota Community Bank and Trust has been your hometown bank. Our mission has been to provide modern banking convenience with old-fashioned hometown service. We've grown with the communities we serve through year-round events, countless sponsorships, and nearly 7,000 hours of volunteering each year. Learn more about our 80-year history at dakotacommunitybank.com.
Capital City Restaurant Supply is your one-stop shop for quality restaurant products for the large to small kitchens. Commercial-grade restaurant and bar supplies, limb game processing equipment, refrigeration, dinnerware, and smallware. We sell everything including the kitchen sink for trusted manufacturers for the chef and all of us. Open to the public since 1971, we are veteran-owned and North Dakota proud. Let us take care of your restaurant and home kitchen needs today by visiting us at 1414 Interstate Loop in Bismarck or on the web at capitalcityrestaurantsupply.com.
Jeez, what a mess. Look at that. There's roof stuff everywhere. It's so embarrassing. Ruins the neighborhood. Come on, humans. Let's get this fixed.
Don't let your roof go to the dogs. Call America's Best Contractors for your free estimate.
Need a new woof?
After checking with the rest, go with the best. America's Best Contractors. 258-2412. Online at americasbestcontractorsincorporated.com.
Did you know the Foundation for Rural Service awards scholarships for rural students? The scholarships range from $2,500 to $7,000. Go to www.frs.org for information and applications. If you're a Beck Fiber customer or the dependent of a Beck Fiber customer, you might qualify for scholarships. Beck awards scholarships to seniors headed to college or to students attending University of Mary. Go to www.beck.coop for eligibility guidelines and applications.
Welcome back to No Apologies on Beck. That was Tony Gehrig, and that is one awesome person.
Yeah,
one awesome person.
We always have fun talking to him. So
yes.
Today we're doing brain food,
Yep.
and our word first to begin, and this, you and I have talked about this. I actually was trying to figure out the word that means when you are about to pass the basketball to somebody and they know that you're going to do it. It's telegraph. Remember we were trying to think of what the word was? If I telegraph what I'm going to do, that's the word. So I put it up as my brain food when I finally remembered what the word was. And it actually showed up in an article by Joy Pullman this week. She said, remember, violent extremists is the term the Obama administration used instead of terrorists in policy documents and public briefings. She said they were trying to telegraph delicacy and nuance about Islamism, a delicacy and nuance Democrats clearly didn't care to convey or even consider about Trump supporting Americans. Just a really, really nice article. Anyway, the word telegraph showed up and I went, aha, that's the word I wanted. It is a noun or a verb. As a telegraph, it can be an apparatus for communication at a distance by coded signals, of course, like as in a telegram. And you can telegraph something to send or communicate as if by telegraph, to send a telegram, to send by means of a telegraphic order, to make known by signs, especially unknowingly and advance. And that's what I'm talking about when you show them you're going to pass the ball, you telegraph something to them. The first known use was in 1793. Telegraph.
I see.
I was looking for that word forever, couldn't remember it.
Most interesting.
Okay, what do you have today?
All right, I have plants.
Okay.
In North Dakota.
North Dakota plants.
And the state flower?
Prairie rose. Everyone knows that. Yep.
Okay.
The state bug. Do you remember it? We did
Ladybug?
on the show. Yeah, we did on the show. You did. Good remember.
Okay, that is a prairie rose. Leaves are distinct, and those are, I guess, rose hips. I call them berries. But here's the thing. You can find these all around the countryside in North Dakota. What I find fascinating is that those little berries, the rose hips, are packed with vitamin C.
Oh, for heaven's sakes.
Yeah, and the reason I picked that for brain food tonight is because I was actually having a discussion with one of the representatives on the floor today, and we were just talking about vitamin C and rose hips. So those little berries that you saw there, they've got just a thin shell, if you will. But I mean, it's edible, but it's red and it's very thin. And then in the middle, you've got all these seeds, but there's a kind of a I don't know, mushy orange layer between the seeds and the red lining, packed with vitamin C and delicious.
Oh, for heaven's sake.
Yeah, when you're walking,
how do you add it? You just eat it, like raw, or?
Well, you don't want to eat the seeds.
Right.
I haven't tried, but yeah, just open it up, squish the seeds out, pop in your mouth, and chew away.
I had no idea.
Now listen, I had to do the calculations and look it up, but your recommended daily allowance for vitamin C is 75 to 90 milligrams per day.
Right.
As a reference, oranges.
Yep.
1 ounce of oranges has 15 milligrams of vitamin C.
Okay.
Now, granted, an orange is more than an ounce, but an ounce of an orange, 15 milligrams. You take an ounce of those rose hips, 525 milligrams
for heaven's sakes,
vitamin C. Right.
They are packed.
So you get basically, for 1 ounce of rose hips, you get a week of your daily allowance of vitamin C. And again, I tell you, they taste good. They're generally late summer and fall, so if you're walking around, pick them, put them in your pocket.
That's fantastic. Yeah. That's great. So edible botany here.
Yes. I think it was last year, the year before, my grandson was walking with me, and I gave him some, and he didn't trust necessarily at first, but then and it was like, wow, these are good. Yeah.
Well, very cool. The prairie rose. Good to know. My second word tonight is telepathy, and it is a noun and the supposed communication of thoughts or ideas by means other than the known senses. It is a synonym of, for instance, clairvoyance or ESP, extrasensory perception, mind reading, sixth sense, insight, thought transference. It is not necessarily something that I believe in. It's from the Greek tele, meaning distant, and pathos or pathia, meaning feeling, so distant feeling, perception, passion, affliction. It's the purported vicarious transmission of information from one person to another without using any known human sensory channels or physical interaction. So, yeah. Are you reading my thoughts right now? Because you look like you're reading my thoughts.
No, I'm trying to send my thoughts to you.
I got nothing. See, I really don't believe in telepathy.
My thoughts were, give me enough time to go to my next brain food.
Okay.
You didn't get that.
I didn't. I'm sorry. I believe in having a sixth sense. I believe that I have intuition. I believe that, God gives you certain cues where you're in danger, because that's happened many, many times. I don't know about telepathy.
I think ladies have sixth sense. I think it's something to do with the XX chromosome, because dudes don't have it. You think?
You're probably right. Men tend to be looking and focusing on their one thing, and women are like watching their whole surroundings. So that's probably part of the problem, but you're probably right about that.
Okay.
Okay, your last one.
My last one. Show the picatur. That's a purple thistle. I think that's what it's called. That's what I call it. So this is another North Dakota plant. So I think it has a lot of uses. I didn't look them all up, but this is going back to when I was junior high or something, or when I was in Boy Scouts actually. There was plants and uses, medicinal uses and so forth. Anyway, if you pull this sucker up out of the ground, clean off the root, and chew on the root, it's an anesthetic.
Oh, for heaven's sake.
Yeah, so if you got a toothache, if you got a kid that's teething and you're in the wilderness,
Is there
you can
kind of a
try
milky substance on the inside of the thistle, if I remember
There
correctly?
is, and there are medicinal properties for that too, which I don't know.
Oh,
but
interesting.
you gotta, it's actually the root.
It's the root of it
and
that has the
it's
medicinal.
not like a big old root or anything.
Oh,
You just chew on it and it gets all numb.
Very super helpful.
There are a ton of
information.
those in Theodore Roosevelt National Park. Do not pull them out of the ground because I think that's an offense.
That's probably not good in a state park. All right, Brain Food is complete, and we are going to finish up tonight with some executive order information for you in just a moment.
There's nothing more important than family. And at Prairie Rose Family Dentists, we get it. That's why we have more locations, more dentists, specialists, extended hours, pediatric clinics, and even emergency appointments, so you can always be seen. Book your appointment today at prairierosedentist.com. Prairie Rose Family Dentists. We are family.
Deciding how to promote your business can be hard. Visit the professionals at Dakota Promotions and Printing and let them help you through your struggle. Dakota Promotions provides promotional items and apparel from corporate gifts to team shirts and everything in between. With quick turnaround times and friendly service, they are your best choice. And best yet, you're shopping local. Visit them online at dakotapromo.com or stop in their showroom at 320 West Main in Mandan. Dakota Promotions, delivering promotions just for you.
Hi, I'm Dennis Haugen, along with my sons Andy and Mike, and we're showing our support for wind energy in North Dakota.
Wind energy has provided farmers like us with a steady stream of income that's not tied to the weather like crops and cattle are.
Another bonus is that wind farm owners are required to maintain the roads leading up to the turbines. Because of that, oftentimes these roads are the best in the county. Wind energy is good for landowners, it's good for the land, it's good for our economy, and it's good for North Dakota.
40 years ago, Aero Service Team started with one truck and lots of hard work.
Times may have changed, but the hard work that we put in to get your lives back in order after fire, water, and disaster hasn't.
Over the years, we've seen so many families lose their belongings due to water and fire damage. Restoring homes back to the original state has made every hour of hard work well worth it.
Thank you for trusting our family with yours.
When disaster strikes, you only have to make one call. Aero Service Team does it all.
The experienced professionals at Superior Glass provide residential and commercial glass installation and repair services in central and western North Dakota. Superior Glass is your source for stained glass projects, mirrors, windows, touchless, and automated entry solutions. Stop by and see us at 3323 East Broadway in Bismarck or call us at 701-258-5600. Superior Glass, where you get superior service for less. Bye for now.
Now is the best time to plan for your 2021 farm equipment needs. North Dakota-based Summers Manufacturing is currently offering early order savings. Take advantage of big savings on North America's broadest tillage line, including the Super Coulter Samurai and the innovative VRT Renegade, as well as the best built, best backed land rollers in the industry. Talk to your Summers dealer today or go to summersmfg.com to learn more about early order savings available on all Summers equipment.
Welcome back to No Apologies on Beck.
Look at how
I just
cool.
got that pin today.
That is so neat. I
Yeah.
noticed it right away.
Yeah, from Representative Nearing District 8. Yeah, it's a very nice pin.
It is.
Thank you, Dave.
That's very cool. So full disclosure before we begin, we looked at this executive order that we are about to do and went, haven't we done this already?
Yeah, like literally, not just rhetorically, oh, it seems the same.
No.
I literally asked, we covered this last night. I was thinking we were being redundant. we weren't being redundant. The administration in the White House is being redundant.
The EOs are very redundant because, same themes, same wording, similar everything, and it's just all blurry.
Race, equity,
right?
expansion.
We can pretty much predict. We could actually start using the words and make our own EO up, which would be identical. Yeah.
A lot of people think that EO stands for executive orders.
And what does it stand for?
It does not stand for that. It stands for expansion, obviously,
expansion,
of government.
Obviously.
Expansion, obviously.
Well done. That's
Duh.
good. Duh. That's excellent. That's good. Expansion, obviously.
Obviously.
All right, so we're moving on. This is number 26 of who knows how many. I think it's over 50. So this one is the executive order on establishing the COVID-19 Pandemic Testing Board and ensuring a sustainable public health workforce for COVID-19 and other biological threats. And it is the policy of my administration to control, this just kills me, control coronavirus. I mean, seriously, who's goofy enough to think they can control it? Anyway, the disease 2019 by using a government-wide unified approach that includes establishing a national COVID-19 testing and public health workforce strategy, working to expand the public health workforce.
Everything is expansion, obviously.
Again. So they move on and say they shall submit a plan to the president for establishing a national contact tracing. This irritates me. Not into the contact tracing at all. Thank you very much, Big Brother. And COVID-19 Public Health Workforce Program to be known as the U.S. Public Health Job Corps, which shall be modeled on or developed as a component of the FEMA Corps program. So expansion of more programs, adding more fees and money that just goes down the crapper again.
Absolutely. And you bring more people into these government core types of things, and you get more buy-in, more expansion, more expansion, more expansion. I'm happy that they actually use the word surveillance in this a few times. I mean, at least we're being upfront about it. The contact tracing is all about surveillance. But yeah, this is some of these are repetitive. I don't know, but this is what he's all about.
Yep.
This is what he's all about.
It's about expansion of government rather than shrinking government. It's exactly that. It seems to me too that he's literally doing things purposely. It's like they looked at the executive orders that Trump had done and said, "Oh, we're going to do exactly the opposite, even though it makes no sense to do that, and we're not going to really think it through. We're just going to be the anti-Trump," and that just is foolhardy. It's just not going to be good for the country.
Now, I would undo all of these executive orders, except I would have a very solid reason. And I would have a political moral compass, which, as we pointed out in segment 1 tonight, Biden obviously doesn't have. Let's go on to the next one.
Okay, number 27. Moving on.
Executive order on economic relief related to the COVID-19 pandemic. I'm staring at the word pandemic.
It is panic, actually.
I think
that's what they're pushing. I mean,
a Freudian
pushed that
slip.
That was a Freudian slip, exactly right.
It's all about panic.
Yes, exactly. So these areas are run by Democrats who shut down economic activity. They just absolutely, these guys do not like economic activity, so their job is to shut it down. And the current economic crisis has affected Americans throughout the nation. Wait for it, but it is particularly dire in, wait for it, communities of color. Every single one.
Here's the thing. The communities of color are what they're referring to, these big cities, are areas that are predominantly controlled by Democrats.
Exactly.
So that's where the money is funneled, not only because they're helping their Democrat cronies, but because the Democrats are the idiots that most seriously closed down the economies and hurt the people.
And put them in nursing homes with COVID and killed them.
Well, that too.
Yeah, and those are the places where the most trouble, you're exactly right, befalls the poor people who live in them. Or now that they're leaving, however, I think a lot of people are leaving. The problems are exacerbated because state and local governments are being forced to consider steep cuts to critical programs to address revenue shortfalls the pandemic has caused.
Listen, I want to know what programs they're going to have a steep
so
cut.
Would I.
Give me one damn program
I'd like to see
you're
that.
going to have a steep cut. I call BS,
you
Joseph.
You are not wrong.
I call BS.
He's not wrong. He's exactly right. That's baloney. Agencies should prioritize actions that provide the greatest relief to state, local, tribal, and territorial governments. Every single executive order, expansion, obviously, has the same phrase in it over and over and over again. It's amazing.
Right. Yep. It's they talk about resources, they talk about money, and it's our money, and they're spending it, and we're losing it. Listen, folks, Rush Limbaugh died yesterday. We didn't cover it last night, but boy, it really sunk in today. A giant, a true giant. And so we are going to have just a little something for you here now. Mr. Rush Limbaugh, may you rest in peace.
I want to tell you who conservatives are. We conservatives have not done a good enough job of just laying out basically who we are, because we make the mistake of assuming that people know. Well, what they know is largely incorrect based on the way we are portrayed in pop culture, in the drive-by media, by the Democrat Party. Let me tell you who we conservatives are. We love people. When we look out over the United States of America, when we are anywhere, when we see a group of people such as this or anywhere, we see Americans, we see human beings. We don't see groups, we don't see victims, we don't see people we want to exploit. What we see is potential. We do not look out across the country and see the average American, the person that makes this country work. We do not see that person with contempt. We don't think that person doesn't have what it takes. We believe that person can be the best he or she wants to be if certain things are just removed from their path, like onerous taxes, regulations, and too much government.